All right, this is take 3 on the virology aliquoting. At this point, we are beginning it. We do expect the aliquoting to be done under a hood. And to begin with, make sure that you have the required materials under the hood with you. That includes the original 3 ml transport swab, or transport media and swabs, a 1 ml transport media and swab, 9 rocket tubes, sterile pipette tips, transparent labels for the rocket tubes, a vortex, a pipette capable of delivering between 200 and 1,000 microliters, and I believe that is it. So at this point, what we are going to do is we are going to take the parent tube. This is the one that comes in through specimen management. There should be 2 swabs inside. If there are less than 2 or more than 2, please make a note on your worksheet. We do not have a copy of the worksheet here, but essentially what you do is you record the information that's on there, the start time, the finish time, and you can read through it. So as you begin the process, you need to vortex the specimen initially for 10 to 15 seconds, and make sure that you keep it as straight as possible. So once you've completed the vortexing, the tube needs to, the primary tube needs to stand up for about approximately a minute. Now at this point, you can see that Jack has placed it in a styrofoam rack. Always keep your tube in some type of rack when you're doing the process, because it can fall over very easily. Once it falls over, you can no longer do the aliquoting, no scraping back up. So as he's waiting for the minute to go by, he can start to prepare the rocket tubes. Now at this point, the parent tube actually is labeled with the original accession number, and it will indicate that number and then a 1 after it. The additional, the rocket tubes will then be labeled O2 for the first one, O3 for the second one, O4 for the third one, O5 for the fourth one, and so on. And the reason for that is you can see, if you look through your procedure, that the different aliquots get different either 600 or 250 microliters. Couple of things to note. Do each one of the rocket tubes, the processing or the aliquoting of them individually, so there are no mistakes. Excuse me. Second, when you open up the primary tube, the 3 ml tube, there are 2 swabs inside. There could be some slight resistance, as those swabs are a little bit longer than the tube when they break off. So be careful when you open up the cap. You want to keep the swabs inside the tube. Also inside the 3 ml tube as well as the 1 ml tube are 3 small glass beads. The glass beads just need to stay inside the tubes. So at this point, 1 minute has elapsed, and what we'll do is we'll now transfer 1 ml of the 1 ml tube into the 3 ml tube. This allows us the ability to make the aliquots, or the number of aliquots that are required. So to do that, you can either use a sterile transfer pipette or one of the 1 ml pipette tips. You are removing 1 ml of liquid out of there. These are the extra long tips so that you can get down in. So at this point, Jack will open up the pipette tips. Once you open up this box of pipette tips, do not remove them from the hood. These you can use these for your aliquoting, your continued aliquoting. They are sterile, but please do not remove them from the rack or from under the hood. So as you can see, he's taking the cap off the 1 ml. He'll very easily or very slowly take the cap off the 3 ml. Be very careful with this because that cap that comes off, you might want to actually take the cap off first. And if the swabs are on the stuck to the top of the cap, just slide the cap sideways and that it'll dislodge. So now Jack's going to check the original 1 ml tube to make sure he's removed all the liquid. Get every last drop that you can because you will need it. At this point, the tube, the 1 ml tube and the pipettes can be disposed of. Hang on. So at this point, at this point we do need to vortex the tube once again. 10 to 15 seconds. Now, we are not going to wait a minute. Well, I guess we will wait a minute because you need to let the bubbles settle down. So I'm going to stop the video for just a second. Okay, it's been about a minute. There is a fair amount of foam at the top of the tube, so just make sure you go down through that when you start doing your specimens, or excuse me, your aliquots. So at this point, we do them one at a time. The first 4 are 600 microliters. So my suggestion here is you uncap the rocket tube. You then put the pipette tip on, take the liquid out, put the liquid back in, and then recap the tube and continue on the process. These are, again, longer pipette tips so that you can actually get down inside. Yeah, I would dislodge your pipette tip, do it with 2 hands. Just makes it easier for you. And then put it to the back of the rack. And as you get used to doing this, you'll develop your own process. But again, remember, you want to make sure that you do one at a time. First 4 get 600. So that's 4 with 600. The next 4 are with 250. So just need to adjust the pipette tip or the pipette volume down. So 250.
Oops.
Here's a copy, while he's doing that, here's a copy of the worksheet. Basically what you want to do is, you can see where it says gather and prepare supplies, put your initials, record time of the initial, or record initial time of collection. That will be off the requisition form itself or in Clin Access. Please make sure you have that. Record the processing time of when you started it. For our sake, we'll use 4 p.m. Record the end processing time. I'll tell you what that is when we're done. The original receipt was 10:30 a.m. this morning, and it would be 10:30 a.m. on 28 November 2016. If you have any comments, if there are 3 swabs in there, 1 swab in there, noted here. If you look at it and it appears that there's not enough, there's not 3 mLs in there, I would note that. Jack has now completed 3 of the 4 250, so he has 1 more to go. When he places this 4th 250 in, there should be relatively little left in the tube itself. If you add them up, it is 4 times 6, which is 2.4 600 microliters, would be 2.4 milliliters. And then the 250 microliters adds up to 1 milliliter. So if you add the 2 together, you have 3.4. There should be about 600 microliter left.
Probably a little bit less from the phone.
So that all goes into tube number 9. So let's just
I'm going to set it to 600.
We're going to set it to 600, but it does, because of the foaming and such, and also the swabs themselves absorb some of the material. So there's probably about 500 microliters in there. But again, it's whatever is left goes into this. Pretty close. And the foam. So now at this point, Jack has finished. What he'll do is just do a quick visual examination of the tubes. The 600 should all look to be about the same. The 250 should all look to be about the same. And then number 9, it's just the residual. So good, 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 and then the residual. At this point, you record the ending time. We are about 15 minutes past the hour now. So I record that on my sheet. So that would be 4:15 p.m. And at this point, the 9 bullets and the primary tube are put in the, brought back to specimen management to be placed in the -80 freezer. That is the end of this training. Thank you very much. Email Jack with any questions.